Good evening. Welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District Board of Education regular board meeting. Today is Monday, December 16th. I call the meeting to order. Mr. Oko, can I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox? Yeah. Ms. Daniel? Ms. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Morrison?
Here.
Ms.
Here. Mr. Oko, could you please note that Ms. Daniels' absent is excused?
Duly noted.
Thank you. Could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Hello.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Cox. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas? Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes. Now I'd like to have a moment of silent reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance led this evening by Ms. Thomas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the November 4th special board meeting and the November 18th regular board meeting as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yes.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Cox? Yeah. Ms. King?
Yes. Now we'll go into the board president's report. I would like to thank the members of the community for attending this meeting this evening. Maple Leaf is such a wonderful building. Thank you to Mr. Glazer and your staff for continuing to do great things here at Maple Leaf for our 4th and 5th graders. The strategic planning process continues to move forward, and soon the community will be able to learn more about the work we are doing with a special tab on the website. From the Board of Education's perspective, continuing to keep the state of our schools strong and focused is among our most important priorities. We thank the community members for their participation and their insights because these individuals are the valuable stakeholders who will provide us with directional input. A renewed vision, mission, beliefs, and goals are all a part of the process for the Garfield Heights City Schools, and you'll learn more in the upcoming weeks and months. Many of the quality strides being made in our school buildings in Garfield Heights City Schools we'll hear about tonight, but the ones that have a lasting impact on the community are always of the utmost importance to the Board of Education. When our singers go out and entertain senior citizens along with elected officials, this underscores our strong working relationship with the community. When we hear about our students participating in valuable anti-injustice initiatives such as Stop the Hate, we know that our students and staff and thinking about and acting upon causes that are bigger than themselves. These are commendable initiatives, and we thank the Garfield Heights staff for pushing our scholars out of their comfort zone to effectively and more meaningfully contribute to the greater society. On behalf of the entire Board of Education, happy holidays to our Bulldog family. I hope you have a joyous winter break with rest, relaxation, and a little bit of holiday spirit. This concludes my report. Next, we'll go into committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Madam President,
Ms. Morrison?
I have a wellness liaison report.
Yes, ma'am.
Currently, the girls basketball team is 4-1 on the season, including 2 conference wins versus Maple Heights and Shaw. Stacia Mobley and Journey Rencher are the team's current leading scorers. Boys basketball team is 3-0 and ranked preseason #1 in our division. Devon Jackson broke the Garfield Heights record for the most threes made in one game.
Oh, wow.
12 3-pointers in the opening game of the season. Wrestling just completed their second tournament of the season with multiple athletes placing in the top 4. And bowling, our girls bowling program has been reestablished after a couple of seasons during which low participation numbers prevented us from building a team. The team is also competing in the toughest league in the state, and our boys' numbers are up from last season as well. Nicholas Ford and Gabriella Ovish are currently the leading scorers for the boys and girls teams, respectively.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison, and congratulations to all of our scholar athletes. Are there any other committee reports?
Okay.
Ms. Thomas?
I voted for.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At CVCC in December, because we have board members whose terms expire in December. We received a strategic plan update, a tuition reimbursement report, and we also recognized our staff. So we recognized our new employees and we congratulated those employees who are already in new positions. We do that twice a year. So this December, we did our second half of staff recognition. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Are there any other reports? I do have a legislative update. We are moving into, this is the last week of the lame duck. So there are a couple of bills that they're looking to try to push out and get voted on before the end of lame duck. One is House Bill 8, the Unsafe Students Act plus release time for religious instruction mandate. House Bill 8 is a top priority going into the final week of lame duck. Earlier this week, the release time for religious instruction language was added to House Bill 8. House Bill 8 has had its 7th hearing in the State Education Committee. It will have its hearing tomorrow, December 17th at 3. We expect House Bill 8 to be voted out of committee quickly on Tuesday and go to the Senate floor on the 18th. Urgent action is needed to stop the bill from passing. This bill could ban discussing LGBTQ plus identities from Ohio classrooms, which will force educators to out students and would require students or schools to allow students to leave the school during the school day to receive religious education. Senate Bill 295 allows the state to close certain public schools. SB 295 will allow our state government to close low-performing public schools. This is an incredibly dangerous bill that will harm communities across the state. Also, House Bill 178, the Crown Act. House Bill 178 bans discrimination against natural hairstyles in public schools, workplaces, and more. The bill has passed out of the House and is currently in the Senate Education Committee. That's the end of my report. Are there any other committee reports? If not, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Reynolds for our presentation.
Thank you, Madam President.
We have the honor of hearing from the Maple Leaf staff led by Mr. Glazer and Mr. Felino, and we are fortunate to hear about all the great happenings in this building.
Is that on? There we go. All right, thank you. Good evening, Dr. Reynolds, Mr. Oko, and members of the Board of Education. Welcome to Maple Leaf. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Paul Glazer. I am the principal here. I am a lifelong Bulldog graduate of Garfield Heights City Schools. I actually went to school here at Maple Leaf when it was a 4-5 building back in the day. It's my honor to present to you. I also have a few members of my team here, Mr. Felino, the assistant principal, Ms. Fagan, our guidance counselor, and Ms. Tanner, our community and schools partner. No, good. I'd like to start off by sharing some of the highlights from our school report card that is really guiding us this school year. We finished the year last year, you can see there, with 3 stars, which indicates from the state that we met state standards. We met state standards in progress, gap closing. Also, each have 3 stars. And the one area we're working on right now, we have 2 stars in that needs some improvement, is achievement. And that's moving our students from each level, so every student growing. And we're going to share with you a little bit more in detail each one of those areas. As you know, Maple Leaf is a 4th and 5th grade building. Our students are tested, all of our students, in ELA and math, and our 5th graders are also tested in science.
Hello, Mike Felino, assistant principal of Maple Leaf. Looking at our English language arts data from last year's OST, you can see some pretty significant growth from 23 up to 24 when Maple Leaf transitioned to a 4-5 building. You'll notice almost more than double from 23 to 24 in our 4th grade ELA, up to 43% passage. And in 5th grade, an increase in score to 41% from 24. And the bottom right of your screen is another look at the data. The green indicates that there was expected growth that occurred. The blue indicates that there was more than expected growth. If you look at the black dotted line in the middle, that means basically that they met 1 year's growth. So if you look at the 2 white circle dots, that shows where our students landed. So you can see that some of our students in 5th grade at the bottom, you see that their dot is in the green pushing towards the blue. That means they grew a little more than what was expected, because some of that dot is actually in the blue. But you look in the 4th grade at the top, that dot is fully in the blue, which means there was more growth than expected. And that what looks like a crescent moon to the far right, that shows that not only was there more growth than expected, but you can consider that even more. There was so much growth that it went beyond that chart. So this is one reason why you see that Maple Leaf met the 3 stars.
Similar story in math. You can see there, 4th grade math, students grew last year. We had about a 39% passage rate. 5th grade, 22.9% compared to the 5% the year before. On the EVAS data, the growth report on the lower bottom of your screen, 4th grade, again, not quite to the blue, but they're beyond that dotted line. Anything to the right of that dotted line indicates growth. So significant growth there for 4th grade as well as 5th grade. You can see they're all the way in the blue. Our science scores, still trending upward, but not as high as our ELA in math. 29% passage rate in 5th grade science. Close to that dotted line, we're still above it, so we're above growth, which is what we want to see. But by our standards for the 4th and 5th grade, we think we can do better. So this was an area of focus for us this school year. To address this, we departmentalize in 5th grade. So what that means, instead of a teacher teaching both math and science, we have 4 teachers in each grade, each teaching by subject. So we have a math teacher, a science teacher, an English language arts teacher, and a social studies teacher. And this really allows that science teacher to focus their planning, their instruction, responding to this data. We've seen some great engaging hands-on science lessons. So we're really excited to see this grow this year. Beyond our academic data, we'd also like to share some of our behavior. We were recognized by the state support team as a PBIS Gold School. That indicates our school-wide system of supports for behavior. had the highest recognition from the state. In our region, in State Support Team Region 3, there were 68 schools that were recognized in bronze, silver, and gold in those three categories. As you can see there on the bottom, 50 schools received bronze, 14 received silver, and only 4 received gold. So we're proud to be one of the 4 schools that received that gold rating from the State Support Team out of 68 schools. So.
Well, how are our students meeting all these goals? Well, they have to come to school. So we do have attendance initiatives. Part of our attendance initiative is the Stay in the Game pledge. We work closely with our communities and schools and our guidance counselor to promote that Stay in the Game program. We have a Browns room, which was created last year to provide that extra incentive. And we are also offering weekly attendance incentives. We run data reports to see how many students have perfect attendance for the week. We incentivize that and later turn that weekly incentive into a monthly incentive for a raffle. Our AIT, or our attendance intervention team, meets monthly, and we discuss which students that we need to target to get them to come to school. Our chronic absenteeism report, that means any student that has missed 10% or more of school. Last year, 47% of our students met that criteria. Our goal was 44%, and currently we are at 33% of chronic absenteeism.
At the beginning of the school year, Dr. Reynolds asked us all to dare greatly. One of the ways we are doing that here at Maple Leaf, we transformed a section of our library into a makerspace. This really allows our students to really push to that next level. They're able to collaborate with each other, think critically. It's a space where we have a theme each month that is tied to standards in our building. Every month, the students have the opportunity to go to the makerspace, participate in that monthly theme, as well as teachers are able to sign out the space. If they're doing a lesson in their classroom or something that supports their instruction, they're able to use that space and the materials there, that they otherwise wouldn't have access to in their normal classrooms. So we have a brief video for you. It's only about a minute long. We'd like to share with you so you can get a better idea of the space.
This year, Maple Leaf has introduced a new makerspace designed to inspire creativity, collaboration, and hands-on learning. Each month features a unique theme tied to seasonal events, holidays, and key initiatives like PBIS and the Stay in the Game attendance program. These themes align with academic standards and promote literacy. Teachers can reserve the space for class projects, and to start the year, students made personalized name buttons. The makerspace encourages collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving through hands-on activities, helping students build resilience and creativity. With tools like 3D printers, students explore, design, and innovate, connecting learning to real-world concepts. This space also provides access to resources they may not typically encounter, fostering confidence and a sense of accomplishment. By offering equal opportunities for all, the Makerspace ensures that every student can contribute and grow. The Makerspace here at Maple Leaf is a place where students not only build, but they thrive.
Month at our library space, so the librarian will read the book Hidden Figures to all the students. They'll talk about the book, and then the students will have the opportunity actually to create the time capsule or the spaceship capsule that goes along with the story, as an example.
We also like to make sure that all students have opportunities, even some of our most advanced students with gifted education. This year, we've provided, our students have had the opportunity to do and participate in other activities to extend their thinking. Our gifted education teacher, Ms. Bartlett, has organized quite a few trips and activities for our students to keep their thinking stretching beyond the class classroom walls. We utilized the Garfield Heights Public Library to do some t-shirt making at their innovation center. They've created pumpkin catapults in our makerspace. They also had a tallest tower challenge where they built towers out of straws. And they also have taken a field trip to the Great Lakes Science Center where they learned a lot about sound waves, musical instruments, and other things. Our students with disabilities, they're also given opportunities outside the classroom walls. In collaboration with Fieldstone Farms, our students take a field trip every Friday. They go for 2-hour sessions, and it's basically equine therapy. And they learn about barn safety. They learn how to take care of the horses. And what started out as a very fearful experience for a lot of our students, if anything, this program helps build student confidence because they are up against a 1,000-pound animal that is just powerful. And there was one story of one of our students who was afraid to be anywhere near a horse, but it was 2 sessions ago, he had gotten so comfortable that not only was he riding the horse, but he was shooting basketballs into a basketball hoop while on the horse. So it just proves that this program does a lot for the students, not only for the experience, but just for their overall well-being and their confidence, not just with horses, but overcoming any challenge in life.
All right, again, I'd like to introduce our guidance counselor, Ms. Fagan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I would like to bring up my co-counselor, Ms. Tanner from Communities and Schools. I consider us the counseling department at Garfield because we piggyback off of each other so well. So at Maple Leaf, we focus in our guidance counselor department, we focus on social and emotional. We help the children with their attendance. We make attendance calls to see why you may not be coming to school. How can we help you out with all kinds of resources from sometimes we're able to give them clothes because we have a clothing closet. This is our clothing closet that we created that if we see a student may be in need of shoes, underwear, pants, shirts, anything they may need is in this clothing closet. I've been able to give out toothbrushes and toothpaste, all kinds of feminine hygiene, toiletries, anything they may need is in the clothing closet because we found that a lot of our students do not come to school because they do not have clean clothes or don't have clothes at all. We also have lunch bunch groups where we meet literally about 60 students a week?
60 to 65 students a week.
In lunch bunch
3 sessions a day.
Yes. And where we talk about just about anything that they want to talk about, but we try our best to focus on our satchel pulse, dealing with character traits, empathy, perseverance, following the rules. Teamwork for sure. How to not get into fights, how to talk to each other, how to be friends and not just always enemies. Also, we have Kiwanis in our school, which is, at first I was, because I'm like, more work for me, and these students aren't going to want to behave with each other. But I am thankful and grateful to say that we have a committee. We have a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. They chose the students. We have a total of 10 students altogether. So far, we have been able to, we found out that our crossing guard was retiring and going off to have a surgery. We met and made a little goodie bag for her. We ran outside and thanked her for helping us cross the street safely every day. We also did decorative enrichment, beautifying the schools, because a lot of our kids do not know our multiplication facts. So we made a multiplication facts, and they're on all the stairs. And when I catch the students on the stairs, I'm like, what is 8 times 8? You know, while you're standing there on the stairs, instead of arguing about who touched you, who pushed you, look down and see what's the multiplication factor.
The goal is to get them to see it. The more they see it, the more they understand it. During their test, they can say, "Oh, I just seen that on the stairs before I went up here."
Yes, exactly. And one other thing that we did, I called it birds with one stone type of action. The firefighter came. We had them fire safety. This is the season where our students may not have heat in their houses. They use electric heaters. So my thought was they're going home by themselves. They may have to make some ramen noodles. They might have to do whatever to stay warm. Let's get the firefighter come out here and discuss what to do, what not to do. Also, he came and talked about how to become a firefighter. What does firefighters wear? And then we gifted firefighters because they're our first responders. And we gifted them to take back to the firehouse a tray of cookies saying thank you for all that you do.
And where does community and schools come into that? We connect the families or the students with the school. So anywhere that the classroom may not touch, as in why they're not coming to school as far as attendance. Attendance is one of our major things with communities and schools. We either go out and get in touch with the families or call the families over and over until we can get an answer. Some of these families do not speak freely about things going on in their home. Communities and schools makes it a more personal occasion to make sure that they know that it's okay to speak. It's okay to ask for help. I've gotten people food all because they've come in and spoke to her. We really work in our office bouncing off of one another.
Yes.
Food, clothing, anything that the clothing closet may need that may not have been donated is me running out to go grab it or get it donated. Just connecting the school with anything that they may not have for the student. I've boosted, or communities and schools has boosted employee morale. Like the photo on the top left or on the left-hand side is Employee of the Month, as well as new teacher gifts. I was here last year with Mr. Glazer, and he brought in a lot of new teachers. So I wanted all those new teachers to feel welcome. I wanted to make sure they felt the culture of this building so that they stayed for next year.
Yeah.
So continuity, just keeping the teachers here, and then supporting the community with engaging the students. The students come to school, they know they have tests, just trying to make them be engaged with new innovative ways that keep them focused. When she spoke about making sure that we meet the child on the level, our conversations are really based on them. Wherever they want the conversation to go, obviously guided by Ms. Fagan, but we let them lead the story to make sure that they connected with what is going on in their lives to bring it back to the school.
We shared the cap and gown.
Oh, the cap and gown. So the cap and gown, communities and schools wants to make sure that all kids are going to graduate. It starts with attendance. So attendance literally starts from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade year. We wanted to make sure our 4th and 5th graders knew that they too will graduate. After they leave Maple Leaf, they're going to go to the middle school next door, then they're going to go down the street to the high school. Some of our students, one in particular, said he wasn't going to graduate. He was never going to wear a cap and gown. He didn't believe that that would be his life. So we went and took a photo of him, made sure he understood these were the steps to the career that he wanted to do. He's in our lunch bunch, so we see him every Thursday, 5th period lunch. He comes and we talk about career goals and life path and college readiness and anything that we can do to plant the seed in his head in 5th grade that you are going to graduate.
All right, in closing, just wanted to highlight a few of the things that we had at different events that we had this year and things that we have upcoming. Every month we do our PBS Awards. We had our Father's Walk. Buck Not Fight was a partnership with the city and the mayor. Keys of the Game is our after-school program every Tuesday, Thursday. We have a boys group and a girls group. We have Heald University. It comes in every Wednesday for our girls group. We ran a mock election this year where our student, they totally led the election. They registered students to vote. Every student casted a vote. We had an issue on the ballot, which was our monthly PBS incentive, so the students actually got to vote on what we would do for that month. And then that same group of students tabulated the votes and shared out the winner of our election, as well as researched and wrote about each of the candidates. Ms. Fagan just shared with you our Kiwanis and Lunch Bunch. We also have a special tie-dye group of boys that is ran by our dean. We had just recently had our poetry slam that we live streamed to all of our families. We just started an art club that meets every Thursday before school. And upcoming in January, we'll be hosting our spelling bee. And again, we will live stream that to our families. So thank you for listening to everything we have going on at Maple Leaf, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Glazer. A lot of great work happening here at Maple Leaf. Are there any questions for Mr. Glazer or his team?
Madam President,
Ms. Cox?
I just want to say, I got to get the words together. You guys, the addition, amazing. I mean, I think that component, just all that you all are offering. I mean, everything you all have said is amazing, but I like the what you all are bringing to our children. That's
solid.
I'm speechless. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Ms. Thomas?
I just have a question about the gifted program. Is that a 4th and 5th grade program, or is it one or the other? And how many students do we have? Can you tell us more about this?
Absolutely. So it is for 4th and 5th graders. Currently, we have 4 students at Maple Leaf. It is a new program district-wide. So Miss Bartlett, she is our gifted teacher. She is housed here at Maple Leaf, but she does serve students across the district. Last year in the spring, our students at Maple Leaf all took a screener assessment called the NNAT3. And then we also look at their MAP scores. Students that reach a certain threshold there in math and ELA qualify for gifted.
Thank you. And throughout the entire building?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Madam President,
Ms. Cox?
one more question. Does the clothing closet take donations?
Yeah, absolutely.
She was hoping you would ask.
And can you share what someone would do to donate to the clothing closet?
Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 3:30, we are available for all donations to be brought either to the front desk or up in our office into a pit.
Thank you.
And I will say they've even recycled some of our lost and found that go unclaimed. They take it to the laundromat or over the middle school there and wash it and repurpose it.
Any other questions, comments? All right, again, great job, Maple Leaf. Keep up all the great work. We look forward to seeing all of your numbers rise. Next on our agenda is our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to Mr. Glazer, Mr. Felino, the counseling team, staff, and students of Maple Leaf for hosting this regular board meeting, for the presentation and all the positive strides you've been taking here in the building for the first and second quarters, onward and upward in terms of successes. As you've heard or may have heard, this coming Thursday, December 19th, Maple Leaf will be kicking off their intended participation in the Scripps National Spelling Bee competition. I always lost, just a side note. I was not great with spelling, but that's a whole different story. By holding classroom spelling bees for each homeroom in the building. The winners will be determined by, from each classroom, who will move on to the school spelling bee scheduled for January 15th. The winner of the school spelling bee will go on to the regional competition in the spring. All these things work together for the good to keep a healthy competition spirit in the world of academics alive and well. So good job to Maple Leaf. Next, the district hosted its Winter Wonderland this past Friday, December 13th at the high school, and we thank everyone who attended to spread some holiday cheer. Of course, the event was a hit with everyone after a special visit from everyone's good friend, Santa Claus. I'm just going to cut my eye over in the room. So thank you to Santa, and also thanks to the staff and the staff members who played a big role in putting this family activity together. In other news, students at Garfield Heights High School have been working with representatives from the Stop the Hate initiative in order to present essays that promote togetherness, inclusivity, collaboration, and condemning hatred and discrimination. The Stop the Hate initiative prompts students to submit transformational essays, which are evaluated, and the winners are announced in the spring. Special shout out goes to Mr. Chamberlain and his high school students for their early work. Students at William Foster Elementary School are treated to a special celebration for their 12 days of Christmas plus 3 week last week, where the different days were aligned to various themes and for our district's youngest students. Last Monday was Candy Cane Day, and the students were encouraged to wear red and white as they encountered a special elf that magically transported to the top of the rooftop in the building to sprinkle candy canes below. Tuesday was celebrated as Twinkle Tuesday as to support outfits with shine and so forth. So creating a special environment for students to strive academically to achieve with this type of creativity. And finally, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Bernard for preparing his vocalists from the high school to entertain our senior citizens recently. His singers were amazing, and they performed classics like Jingle Bells and Silent Night, along with some new carols as well. A room full of seniors, Mayor Burke, and more were all there to enjoy this presentation. So great job to Mr. Bernard and the students at the high school. And to the Board of Education, our staff, students, families, and community, I wish you a wonderful holiday and winter break. So thank you all, and that concludes the report.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Next on our agenda is remarks from the public regarding agenda items. And we don't have anyone. So we're going to go next to our next section. And could I get a motion to approve the financials for the month of November, which is 8.1?
So moved. That
Any discussion? Mr. Oko?
Yes, Madam President. So November was a 3-pay month for our school district, which shows a little bit of a big variance in our expenditures to month, as you can tell in the report. Usually it's December. Just the way the payroll schedule fell, 3 pays in November. So next month you'll see that, fix, and it should be normal moving into May. May will have 3 pays, and it should be June, but just the way our payroll schedule falls. The other big thing that you'll see is the Fair School Funding Plan, unrestricted grants in and restricted grants in, is a little bit lower through the year. There's been some data issues in reporting to the state. Our administrative team is hard at work to fix that, correct it moving forward. The important thing to understand is that once those errors are fixed, the state will back pay us. So they will retro pay us on that. So we've already made it clear with ODEW that we know that there's some issues moving over. We're going to fix them. We're moving forward with it. We know that the fixes work. So our economic disadvantage funding had an uptick because now we're reporting 100% as we should be given our CEP status in the district. So and finally, our grants. So November would have been the first month we're reporting our grant flip over for the federal fiscal year. We're 17% of the way expended and reimbursed. So we are on track again. Last year we hit 95%, which was our benchmark goal as a board. We'll be well on that way with the trend moving forward this year.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Oko.
Of course. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Oko? All right, hearing none, that was motioned by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison? Yes. Ms. Thomas? Ms. Cox? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes. Next, we need to establish a date and time for the 2025 organizational meeting and appointing the president pro tem. If we look at our calendars, do we want to do the meeting, I believe, on the 6th, which would be the Monday before our typical work session, or do we want to do it on the 13th, which would be our typical week for the work session?
the 13th.
The 13th? Everyone okay with the 13th at 6 o'clock?
No.
So we can do our organizational meeting on the 13th and then close that meeting out and go into the special work session on the same night. So we can have
Yes.
2 meetings just roll into it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So that would be the 13th.
Yep.
5. And we will, I make a motion to appoint Mr. Oko as President Pro Temp. Can I get roll call?
Yes.
Do we need roll call?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Wonderful.
All right.
I'm honored. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Also, we need to set the date and time for the tax budget hearing, which we typically have on the same day. So I'm recommending January 13th.
Good call.
Any concerns about having it on the 13th at 6:15? All right, so we will go with the 13th at 6:15. All right, could I get a motion to move and waive 10.1 through 11.1? Yes, ma'am.
To reach law, same talent as executive for hiring in the or respect for the context they posted or to use the late on host.
Yeah, it's a good point, Ms. Thomas. We should probably, just to be safe, we should make a motion for 9.1 and 9.2.
Okay.
Take action into that.
Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 9.1 and 9.2?
Second.
All right, that was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Morrison. Is there any discussion? All right, could I get roll call?
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Ms. Cox, Ms. King.
Yes. All right, could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 10.1 through 11.1?
Donovan.
Is there a second? That was moved by Ms. Morrison, second by Ms. Thomas. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison, yes. Ms. Thomas, Ms. Cox, Ms. King.
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 11.2? Is there a second?
But also distant.
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Cox. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I get roll call, please?
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Cox, Ms. Morrison, yes. Ms. King.
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 13.1 through 17.1?
So
Yes, but that's a good.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Is there any discussion?
that's what
Ms. Thomas?
you know that there is a right now. So they're going providing with it a date for that deal.
Oh, he's like that out here.
How does it's gonna start?
Hello.
All right, we'll hopefully get some updates on track and field for the spring. Any other discussion? All right, that was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison, yes. Ms. Thomas, Ms. Cox, Ms. King.
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 18.1?
So moved.
Is there a second? That was moved by Ms. Morrison, second by Ms. Cox. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison? Yes. Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas? Ms. King?
Yes. Could I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 18.2? Is there a second?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Thomas and second by Ms. Cox. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could I get roll call?
Ms. Thomas? Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison? Ms. King?
Yes. Next, 18.3, a resolution determining to submit to the electors of the school district the question of the renewal of an existing tax levy pursuant to sections 5705.3 and 5705.194 to 5705.197 of the revised code. Could I get a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Bedtime.
That was moved by Ms. Cox and second by Ms. Thomas. Is there any discussion? Can I get roll call, please?
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas? Ms. Morrison? Ms. King?
Yes. Can I get a motion to move and waive the reading of 18.4?
So moved.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Thomas. Could I get, or is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I get roll call, please?
Who was that second by Ms. King?
Ms. Thomas.
Okay. Ms. Morrison? Yes. Ms. Thomas? Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes. Any remarks regarding miscellaneous school items? All right. We will now at 6:50 move into executive session. There will be no action taken when we come out of executive session.
Ms. King, can you state the reason we're going into executive
yes.
session?
We're going into executive session to consider the compensation of a public employee or official. All right, so we will.
Can I get a motion?
Can I get a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was moved by Ms. Morrison and second by Ms. Cox. Is there any discussion about going into executive session? Could I get roll call, please?
Ms. Morrison? Yes. Ms. Cox? Yes. Ms. Thomas? Ms. King?
Yes. We're going into executive session.